What's up, everybody? It is Charlie from Raging Entertainment. I wanted to go ahead and do a movie review for you guys slash 4K of a 2012 film of Dredd. I finally got to watch this. I know it's from the year 2012. I have not watched it until just recently. It stars Karl Urban. If you guys don't know the name, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's been in Star Trek. He's been in Lord of the Rings. He's been in Thor Ragnarok. I mean, the guy is a well-known actor. If you don't know the name, this is a picture of him right here, so then that way you know who I'm talking about. But, yeah, I have to admit that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it's funny because I didn't know that Karl Urban was Dredd until after I watched this movie, because you don't see him take off the helmet the whole movie or anything like that, so I kind of went into this blind in a sense to where I didn't know who was whose, so to speak. And I mean, I recognized one actor in the movie, and he was in the Remember the Titans movie with Denzel Washington, based on a true story of a football team, basically college football team to make it more accurate. But a certain actor, I can't remember his name at the moment, be right here at the bottom, so that way you can see. And I know I just showed you guys a 1995 film of the Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, so I will be talking about like the differences in the two, but it's mainly for this one. And I have to admit that I was actually somewhat impressed with this film. I know that it may not have a lot of love, but I can definitely say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I know that it's basically just about 10 years old now, because I mean, it's 2022, came out in 2012, so I watched it 10 years later. Sorry. Anyway, but I really did enjoy this movie. Karl Urban did a great job as Dredd, and it's funny, I would have never guessed it was him because, of course, he's not American. You know, he's got a British accent and all that kind of stuff. As a normal, you know, actor, you wouldn't have known. In my opinion, you wouldn't have known if you went into it blindly at all. No joke. And he did such a great job with the character. He was very convincing as Judge Dredd, even though they don't necessarily say Judge Dredd. I mean, like, yeah, they're called judges and stuff, but he just mainly goes by the name Dredd, you know, so it's understandable. And this has definitely got a grimmer, darker, futuristic, of course. Kind of reminds me of RoboCop meets Blade Runner in a sense, you know, the crime aspect of RoboCop, you know, the futuristic aspect of that mixed in with Blade Runner's futuristic aspect too. It's a weird combination, in my opinion, to where that's what it felt like to me, if I'm to compare at all. And it's bloody, it's brutal, it's definitely got its violence in there and stuff like that. It's pretty adult worthy for sure. And compared to this one, the Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, this one was more of a kind of a slapstick comic book type of movie. And I mean, because Sylvester, of course, we all love Sylvester Stallone. I mean, to me, it's a fun movie, in my opinion. It's a fun movie. It's not meant to be serious or anything like that. I mean, what's his name? I'm forgetting the actor's name right now. Deuce Bigalow, Mel Gigolo. Oh my God, why? Rob Schneider. I was about to forget his name. Rob Schneider is in this. He kind of brings that comic relief to it. And when I mean comic, I don't mean pun intended by being a comic book movie or anything like that, but the comedic type of it. You know, more slapstick comedy with his, you know, character being in the film. And then, of course, going from that to this was really awesome to watch, in my opinion, especially with the right people behind it. You were able to give it a, you know, more darker tone. And sometimes I wish they would do that with more of the comic book movies. I mean, Aquaman, good movie, don't get me wrong. Could have been a little bit more than what it was. So hopefully with the second one, it's a little bit more darker and more, I guess you could say, in a real dark tone aspect. And I mean, like with the new Batman that's going to be coming out, you know, just in a few months. I mean, that has a darker tone. They're pushing they're pushing that PG-13, you know, rating, basically, because from what I understand, it's going to be brutal. It's borderline horror. They will have some adult stuff in there, from what I understand. I'm trying not to be too graphic on here, but yeah, I mean, this kind of does that for you. And it's funny because this isn't the only movie that's had that whole bloody, brutal, you know, comic book feel, because, I mean, We got Hellboy, you know, I mean, that's brutal. And I'm talking about like the 2019. If I were to compare brutal, bloody, I would compare the Hellboy 2019 one to this for like brutalness, bloody, and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Crow, is a comic book movie. It's dark, it's grim, it's gothic, it's a romantic story. I mean, it's a sad story, but I mean, the premise of the movie is just true love never dies. I mean, just to kind of sum it all up, that's what it is. But Dredd, I definitely give you, I would say a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. And for the 4K transfer of this movie, I got to admit that I was actually digging the 4K of this. Didn't have to mess with the settings too much. I didn't have to mess with the audio too much at all to really like have to say, point out any too much flaws or anything like that. Now, don't get me wrong, just like any other movie, there will be certain things where you're like, oh, they could have done that differently. But other than that, I mean, it's a great sound, great quality, great picture, great clarity, all of that and above, in my opinion. It was a great movie, great transfer, all of that. And yeah, if you guys hopefully are still able to get this steelbook at all, I don't know if it's still available, but if it is, you could probably find it at Best Buy, because that's where it was. It was a Best Buy exclusive. But if it's not, I'm sorry, maybe you can find it through resellers on eBay, hopefully not for too bad price or anything like that. But yeah, if you guys could, please leave a like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and I'll leave my links to my social media as well as my Amazon wish list, my PayPal if you guys want to donate in any way. And I will see you guys in the next video. You guys stay safe, take care, and stay tuned.